Hello everyone, Yubel Master here, aka 38 the Master One, bringing you another video for the Yubel community. And today was the content creators' sneak peek opening of Phantom Nightmare boxes. And so because of this, we now know all of the rarities and English translations for all of the cards in the set. And I'll say it now, it sure is looking good for us budget players here, because it looks like Konami did listen to the bonfire backlash that's been happening recently, and they've lowered the rarities of some of the chase cards in the set this time. Because the two most hyped up meta cards in this set, Snake Eyes Popular and Promethean Princess, they've made them both ultra rares instead of secret rares, which I'm sure a lot of people in the community are very happy about. However, as for us Yubel players, out of the 7 cards we're getting, we are looking at 1 ultra rare, 3 super rares, and 3 commons, which I must say is pretty good on our wallets. And even for us collectors out there, one of the cards is also available in Quarter Century Secret Rare. So then, let's get into the details, starting with the official English translations and some of the card name changes. So, for the Yubel fusion, we all knew that they were going to translate the German into English, since that's what they did for Terra Incarnate and Ultimate Nightmare. So for
Das ewig liebe Wächter.
They have actually decided to go with Yubel, the Loving Defender Forever. Now, I can see why they went for this, because I get that they wanted to capture the 3 German words in the original Japanese name, which do translate to Forever, Love, and Guardian. But it's definitely not the translation that I would go with personally. I mean, it's cute, and it's accurate to the original meaning, but it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue when you try to say, Yubel, the Loving Defender Forever. I mean, imagine when I'm dueling, and then I'm going something like, and now I activate Super Polymerization, fusing all 12 monsters on the field. Now, from 12 dimensions and beyond, Yubel, unleash your true power! I fusion summon Yubel, the Loving Defender Forever. Like, yeah, it's not the best sounding sequence of words, in my opinion. Personally, I would have just gone with a very simple translation of Yubel the Eternal Guardian, because it sounds a lot cooler, and it's easy to remember. But in their defense, I do think that this is probably the best way to stay accurate to the intended meaning the original creator was going for. But what do you guys think? Do you disagree with me and like this translation? Or do you guys have a better translation in mind that you would have rather seen? Do let me know in the comments down below. But now with the big one out of the way, let's talk about the rest of the name changes for the Yubel cards. So Spirit of Yubel, Eternal Favorite, and Mature Chronicle have all remained the same. Geist Grinder Golem was successfully predicted as the translation from the Yugiyoh org translators, because in Japanese it's actually Geist Tochi Golem, which is named after the original Tochi Golem, which is supposed to mean torture golem, but Konami obviously had to censor that word into grinder instead. So this naming convention was pretty predictable. As for the Lotus retrain, Yugioh org actually predicted this translation incorrectly, because instead of Samsara regenerating Lotus, which is what they predicted, Konami actually made it more similar to the Japanese name and translated it into Samsara D Lotus. Yeah, in Japanese it's actually called Sacrifice D Lotus, and the D has some furigana written on top, which changes the reading to Demon, so Sacrifice or Demon Lotus. So now you guys know what the D stands for in Sacrifice D Lotus. So whenever you summon it, you can say Samsara Demon Lotus if you want, to show off that you know the true name. So yeah, that's all the new names we have for the 7 Yubel cards. Let's now go over the rarities of them. So Geist Grinder Golem, Mature Chronicle, and Eternal Favorite. All 3 of those are in common, which I think I saw that coming too. As for the 3 supers, we have Spirit of Yubel, Samsara D Lotus, and Nightmare Pain. And since those 3 cards are the ones that we usually run multiple copies of in our decks, we're probably going to have a pretty shiny deck, which I'm pretty happy about. But I think it would have been pretty cool to have Nightmare Pain as a higher rarity, maybe a secret rare. But hey, this way we don't have to spend too much on the deck, so it's really good for us budget players. And hey, maybe we'll get a rarity bump in future reprints, who knows. And finally, Yubel the Loving Defender Forever is an ultra rare, since it is the cover card of the set. And this does mean that it's also going to come in Quarter Century Secret Rare, which is really, really cool for any collectors out there. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the rarities overall. I think we really did get the best of both worlds here. The cards that we run multiple copies of in the deck are super rare, so our deck will still look pretty shiny. And there's also a QCSR option for those of us who want a shiny, expensive looking extra deck. But the deck still is cheap for those who want it to be. So everyone's happy. Now there are a couple of things I want to mention about the set before I end the video, because we also now know what the OCG imports are, and there are two notable cards for us Yubel players, these being Three-Eyed Ghost and Mystic Potato, because these two cards can both search out Spirit of Yubel, and they are commons in this set. They aren't cards that I would personally run in my deck, but they are decent tech options if you are a budget player or you don't have all the cards that you need, for a Yubel deck specifically. So it's pretty cool how they do come in this set. I'll quickly go over the effects for those that don't know what they do. So Mystic Potato is a level 4 dark plant monster, so it has exactly the same stats as Mystic Tomato, which means it can be lone fired out of the deck too. And it reads, if this card on the field is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one dark monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck in attack position except Mystic Potato. So you can destroy it with Nightmare Pain and special summon Spirit of Yubel, as well as get a search. Three-Eyed Ghost is a level 3 Dark Fiend, so you can summon this card using Tour Guide from the Underworld, although its effects will be negated so you won't be able to use it anyway. The effect reads, you can send this card from the field to the graveyard, add one level 10 dark monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Three-Eyed Ghost once per turn. So yeah, these cards do have searching potential, but the main issue with them is that you basically need to get them on the field somehow, which is usually going to be a normal summon. And if you're running the Sacred Beast engine, you don't really have a spare normal summon for these cards, but still, they are an interesting tech choice for those who want to consider them. So yeah, that's all I have to say about today's reveals. I'll leave a link in the description to the Yugipedia article on Phantom Nightmare, which shows a list of all the cards and their rarities. As for future videos that I'm going to be making on this channel, I will be trying to finish my set review video with me reading the rest of the cards in Phantom Nightmare in one big long video. Then after that, I'll be making a guide to the sealed pack play for next week's premiere event, where I will be analysing the set and all of its different rarities in more detail from the perspective of sealed pack play. So if you've never been to a premiere event before, then I highly recommend going to this one next weekend. You pay for 5 packs on entry, and using those 5 packs, you build a deck of a minimum 20 cards and then play with other players who have done the same. It's a lot of fun, and if you're buying Phantom Nightmare, you might as well attend this event and have some fun. And who knows, you'll probably pull some super rare Yubel cards. And if you win, there's a very cool Yubel mat up for grabs. So after that, I will be working on quite a few videos for the release week of Phantom Nightmare, which will be a very exciting time for all of us. There will be deck profiles, deck building guides, and maybe even a box opening too. So do subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay tuned for all of that. And while you're down there, don't forget to leave the video a like. It does help to support the channel, and it's completely free to do so. So then, what do you guys think of these rarities and the new English names that we've got? Do let me know in the comments down below. And with that, I'll see you all in the next video.